My name is Vera Westbrook. I'm 28 years old. 7 days before my wedding, I found out my own mother had canceled every single vendor, the flowers, the catering, the venue, and told my fiancé that I was damaged goods and he was making the biggest mistake of his life. On our wedding day, 200 guests arrived to an empty lot, but my maid of honor had seen this coming 6 months ago. What she planned, and what my mother walked into, changed everything. Before we begin, if you enjoy this story, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you truly feel it. And tell me in the comments, what time is it where you are right now? Now, let me take you back to 8 months ago, the night Nathan got down on one knee in our kitchen, and the phone call from my mother that came 11 minutes later. Nathan proposes on a Tuesday evening. No fancy restaurant, no ring hidden in dessert. He just stands in our tiny kitchen in Ridge Hill, Georgia, holding a ring he saved 7 months for and says, "I don't have a speech. I just know I want every morning to start with you." I say yes before he finishes the sentence. We sit on the kitchen floor afterward, my back against the cabinets, his arm around my shoulder, and I keep turning my hand under the light, watching the small diamond catch it. For 11 minutes, the world is exactly right. Then my phone rings. Mom. I pick up, still smiling. Mom. But Nathan just, where are you having it? No congratulations, no gasp, no, oh, honey. The wedding, she says. Where's the venue? I need to know now. I glance at Nathan. He tilts his head, listening. We haven't decided anything yet, Mom. He literally just, well, you need to start deciding. These things book out a year in advance. I'll handle the calls. I should explain something. My whole life, every decision I've ever made has passed through my mother first. Which college? Like which major? Which apartment? When my father died, I was 19. She pulled me close at the funeral and whispered, "It's just us now. You're all I have." And from that day, saying no to her felt like abandoning a widow. So when I tell her we want to plan it ourselves, she goes quiet. 4 seconds. I count them. Fine, she says. I understand. You don't need me anymore. My chest tightens. The old guilt, the one she installed like software when I was a child, boots up instantly. No, Mom. Of course I need you. I want you to help. I hear her exhale, satisfied. Nathan watches me from across the kitchen. He doesn't say anything, but his jaw shifts, just slightly, the way it does when he's holding something back. I didn't know it then, but that phone call was the first move in a game my mother had been waiting to play. 3 months after the engagement, my mother has taken over everything. It happens gradually, the way water rises in a basement. By the time you notice, now it's already at your ankles. First, she offers to make a few calls to vendors because I'm busy teaching third grade. Then she starts showing up to tastings without telling me. Then she changes my contact info on the florist's account to her own number. I wanted wildflowers, sunflowers, lavender, baby's breath, loose and messy and alive. My mother orders white roses. For elegance, she says. You'll thank me. I wanted BBQ, pulled pork, cornbread. Can't serve barbecue at a wedding. Vera can't serve barbecue at a wedding, Vera. People will talk. I wanted the seating chart to put Nathan's family up front. She rearranges it so her friends fill the first 4 rows. When I push back, gently, the only way I know how, she cries. Right there in our living room, dabbing her eyes with a tissue she already had in her hand. I'm just trying to make this beautiful for you. Your father would have wanted it this way. And I fold. Every time. Nathan starts spending longer hours in his workshop. He doesn't complain. But I catch him standing at his workbench sometimes, not building anything, just staring at the wall. One evening, Rachel, my maid of honor, my best friend since 8th grade, comes over for the first rehearsal dinner planning. She watches my mother rearrange the centerpiece samples I'd chosen, but replacing everyone. Rachel doesn't say anything to Diane, but later at the door she grabs my arm. I need you to trust me on something. Don't ask questions yet. I laugh nervously. What do you mean? She just squeezes my hand and leaves. I didn't understand. Not then. 2 months before the wedding, my mother invites Nathan to lunch. Just the two of them. She says it's to talk family things. I think it's a good sign. But Nathan comes home that afternoon and sits down across from me at the kitchen table. He folds his hands. He's careful with his words. He always is. But I can see the tension in his shoulders. Your mother told me you had a breakdown in college. My stomach drops. She used the phrase damaged goods. I stare at him. The room tilts. She said, "My daughter needs someone who can handle her. Can you? Really?" I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. Because yes, after my father died, but I went through a dark stretch my sophomore year. I saw a counselor. I worked through it. It wasn't a secret, but it wasn't ammunition either. My mother turned it into ammunition. "What did you say?" I whisper. Nathan looks at me steadily. I said, "I don't see damage. I see someone who survived you." Something cracks open in my chest. Not pain. Something warmer. "She left after that," he says. "Didn't finish her iced tea." 20 minutes later, my phone rings. "Mom. Nathan disrespected me at lunch." "Mom, he's isolating you from your family, Vera. That's what men like him do. Carpenters. Blue collar. No ambition. He builds furniture with his hands, Mom." "Your father was an accountant." "Dad is gone." Silence. Then very quietly, "Don't you dare throw that at me." She hangs up. I sit in the kitchen holding my phone, caught between two versions of the truth. My mother's, where she's protecting me, and the real one, where she's trying to make sure I never leave. I didn't know it yet, but this was only the first step in her plan. The rumors start small. 6 weeks before the wedding, I walk into Patty's hair salon on Main Street for my regular trim. Patty, who's done my hair since I was 14, sits me down and leans close to the mirror. "Honey, are you okay? Your mama stopped by yesterday, said things aren't going well at home." I blink. What did she say exactly?" Patty hesitates. "Just that you've been struggling, that Nathan might not be the right fit." I smile, the kind you paste on when your insides are liquefying, and say, "Everything's fine, Patty, really." But it's not fine. Because the next day, I walk into Dale's Market for groceries, and Mrs. Brewer at the register gives me a look I've never gotten before. Pity. Pure, unfiltered pity. "Vera, sweetheart, if you ever need to talk." I don't ask what she heard. I already know. Ridge Hill has a population of 4,000. In a town this size, a rumor doesn't travel. It teleports. Within 48 hours, my mother has seeded every coffee counter and church parking lot with the same story. Vera is fragile. Nathan is a mistake. The wedding shouldn't happen. I start feeling it everywhere. The sideways glances at the post office. The overly gentle tone from parents at school pickup. People treating me like I'm made of wet paper. That Thursday evening, as my phone buzzes, a text from Rachel. "Don't react to anything your mom does this week. I mean it. Trust me." I stare at the screen. What does Rachel know that I don't? I type back. "You're scaring me." 3 dots appear, then disappear, then appear again. Good. Scared means you're paying attention. She doesn't explain further. And for reasons I can't articulate, I don't push. Something is moving under the surface. I just can't see it yet. 5 weeks out. My mother calls Gloria Cole. What I don't find out about it from Gloria, I find out from Nathan, who finds out from his mother, who calls him at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, her voice tight and careful. "Nathan, is there something about Vera I should know?" Nathan puts the phone on speaker so I can hear. Gloria continues. "Diane called me last night. She said Vera has a history of," she used the word episodes. "She said Vera needed psychiatric treatment in college and that she worries about her stability." My hands go cold. "She told me you should know what you're getting into. And that," Nathan, I'm just repeating what she said. "She called Vera emotionally volatile." I watch Nathan's face. His expression doesn't change, but a muscle near his temple tightens. "Mom," he says, "Vera saw a counselor after her dad died. That's it." Diane is twisting it." Gloria pauses. "I believe you, honey, but she was very convincing. She cried." Of course she cried. After Nathan hangs up, he turns to me. For the first time, I see something in his eyes that isn't patience. It's clarity. "Your mother is not trying to protect you, Vera. She's trying to own you." I know he's right. I've known for years, maybe. But hearing it out loud, in our kitchen, on a Saturday morning, with sunlight on the floor, it sounds different. And it sounds true. Don't fight with your mom over this, I tell him. That's exactly what she wants. He nods, but his jaw is set. That night, lying in bed, I realize something. My mother isn't just trying to stop a wedding. She's trying to dismantle every relationship I have, one phone call at a time. And she's running out of people to call. Here's what nobody tells you about weddings. The money disappears before the first dance starts. Nathan and I have saved for 3 years. And $18,000, pulled from teacher paychecks and early carpentry commissions, skipped vacations, a used car instead of a new one. Every dollar earmarked. Florist, $2,200. Caterer, $4,800. Venue deposit, $3,500. DJ, photographer, rentals, cake. The rest fills in fast. Most of those vendors have a 30-day cancellation policy. We're now inside that window. If the wedding doesn't happen, we lose almost everything. And I sit at the kitchen table one evening with our budget spreadsheet open on my laptop. Nathan's across from me, sanding a chair leg by hand because the noise of the power sander bothers our neighbor's dog. If we had to walk away right now, I say, how much do we lose? He doesn't look up. Most of it. We can't afford to lose most of it. I know. $18,000. 3 years of packing lunch instead of buying it. 3 years of Nathan working weekends. That money was supposed to be our start. A down payment fund, a safety net, a future. And right now it's sitting in contracts controlled by a woman who thinks my happiness is a threat to hers. I close the laptop. I press my palms against my eyes. If I don't do something, I say, more to myself than to Nathan, I lose the money. I lose face in front of 200 people. I lose your mother's trust. I lower my hands. And I lose myself. Nathan puts down the sandpaper. You won't lose me. I know. Then we figure it out. I nod. But sitting there, in the quiet of our kitchen, I think, this is the bottom. This is as bad as it gets. I was wrong. 7 days before the wedding. A Monday. I'm grading papers at my desk during lunch when I decide to call the florist. Just a quick confirmation. Routine. The phone rings twice. Magnolia Florals, this is Dawn. Hi Dawn, it's Vera Westbrook, just checking in on our order for Saturday. A pause. Too long. Ma'am, that order was canceled 3 days ago. The pencil in my hand stops moving. Excuse me? Your mother called. She said the wedding was off. I hang up. My fingers are shaking, but I dial the caterer. Miss Westbrook, yes, we received the cancellation Thursday. Your mother said... I hang up again. I call the venue. I'm sorry, Ms. Westbrook. Mrs. Diane Westbrook called and canceled the reservation. She said the family had decided... I don't let her finish. I sit at my desk, staring at my phone, and I feel the ground beneath me dissolve. Not crack. Dissolve. Like sand under a wave. I call my mother. She picks up on the first ring, as if she's been waiting. Mom, you canceled my wedding. I canceled a mistake. That was not your decision. Everything about you is my decision, Vera. I grip the edge of my desk. I raised you, she says, her voice flat and even. I fed you. I buried your father alone. This wedding? Yo, it's mine to give or take. Something shifts inside me. Not anger, not yet. Something colder. Something that has been sleeping for 28 years and just opened its eyes. No, I say. It isn't. I hang up. My hands are still shaking, but my voice was steady. And that surprises me more than anything my mother just said. The room is very quiet. 22 third graders are at recess, and I'm sitting alone with the wreckage. I don't remember driving home, and I remember the kitchen floor, the cold of the tile through my dress, the way the afternoon light made a rectangle on the wall that moved so slowly it felt like time had thickened. I'm not crying. That's the strange part. I'm just sitting there, my back against the dishwasher, my bag still on my shoulder, staring at nothing. Nathan finds me like that when he comes in from the workshop, sawdust on his forearms. He looks at me and doesn't ask what happened. Yet he just sits down next to me on the floor, close enough that our shoulders touch. 10 minutes pass, maybe 15. The refrigerator hums. She canceled everything, I say finally. Every vendor, all of them. He doesn't flinch. When? 3 days ago, behind my back. His hand finds mine. His palm is rough and warm. She told me this morning it was hers to give or take, I say. The wedding, our wedding, she said it belongs to her. Nathan is quiet for a moment. Then, we'll figure this out. 7 days, Nathan. No florist, no caterer, no venue, no money for replacements. I know. My mother wants me to fail. The sentence sits in the room like a living thing. The first time I've ever said it out loud. Nathan pulls out his phone. I'm calling Rachel. He dials. Rachel picks up. Nathan gives her the short version. Vendors canceled. Diane responsible. 7 days. Rachel listens. I can hear the silence on her end. Not the silence of shock. Hook call. Nathan and I look at each other. Call. Nathan and I look at each other. Don't call any vendor, Rachel says. Don't call your mother. I need 48 hours. That same night, after I've fallen into something that isn't quite sleep on the couch, Nathan's phone rings. He's in the kitchen. I hear him answer, hear his voice drop low. I don't move. Later, much later, he tells me what happened, as my mother called him at 10:47 p.m. She had a breakdown in college. Did she tell you the full story? Nathan says nothing. She couldn't get out of bed for 3 weeks. She missed finals. I had to fly up and bring her home. Still nothing. She can't handle stress, Nathan. She'll fall apart. You'll be the one picking up the pieces. He lets her talk. Walk away now, she says. Save yourself. You seem like a decent man. Don't let her ruin your life. Nathan reaches across the counter and taps a button on his phone. Record. Georgia is a one-party consent state. He knows this because his buddy Marcus told him once after a contractor tried to cheat him on a job. Is that everything, Diane? He says calmly. I'm trying to help you. Noted. He hangs up. He saves the file. He doesn't tell me that night. He can see I'm barely holding together, and one more blow might crack the foundation. The next morning, he drives to Rachel's apartment before work. He hands her his phone, the recording queued up. Rachel listens. Her face doesn't change. When it ends, she looks at Nathan and says, "This is exactly what I needed." Nathan asks, "What are you planning, Rachel?" She taps the phone against her palm. "Insurance." He waits. "The kind your mother-in-law can't cancel." She doesn't elaborate. And Nathan, because he's Nathan, trusts her the same way I do, completely. Rachel told me to wait 48 hours. Those were the longest 48 hours of my life. But I didn't know yet that she had been preparing for this moment for 6 months. 5 days before the wedding. Rachel shows up at our door carrying a manila folder thick enough to prop open a window. She sits at our kitchen table, the same table where Nathan proposed, where I learned about the cancellations, where every turning point of this year has happened, and opens the folder. I need to tell you something, she says, and I need you to let me finish before you react. I nod. The day your mom volunteered to handle the wedding, 6 months ago, I started making backup plans. I stare at her. 6 months? Do you remember your college graduation? I do. My mother arrived 40 minutes late, started an argument with my roommate's parents over parking, and spent the reception telling everyone that my education degree was a waste, and I should have gone into business. I cried in the bathroom. Rachel held my hair back. I made a promise to myself that day, Rachel says. She would never ruin another milestone for you. She pulls out a printed contract. Elmwood Garden Estate, a private garden property 12 minutes from downtown Ridge Hill, owned by a woman named June Whitfield, a friend of Rachel's from event planning. The contract is signed, Rachel's name, dated 6 months ago, a $2,000 deposit, Rachel's own money. You spent your own money? My voice cracks. You'd do the same for me. I look at the date on the contract, 6 months. She started this the same week my mother took over the vendor calls. Rachel saw it coming before I did, before anyone did. Nathan leans against the counter, arms crossed. He's staring at Rachel like she just walked through a wall. I didn't do this because I hate your mother, Rachel says. I did this because I love you. I don't have words. I just have tears. And for the first time in months, they're not the sad kind. Rachel flips through the folder like a general briefing a war room. Florist, Sandy's blooms, out of Cartersville. Wildflowers, sunflowers, lavender. She looks at me. Exactly what you originally wanted. I press my hand over my mouth. Caterer. Big Jim's Smokehouse. Pulled pork, cornbread, brisket, sweet tea in mason jars. Nathan lets out a short laugh, the first one I've heard from him in weeks. DJ is my friend Marcus, photographer, my coworker Lena. She shoots weddings on the side. Total backup cost, 6,500. I've covered it. You pay me back whenever. I shake my head. Rachel, that's not negotiable. She moves on. Guest list. I pulled the original list you shared with me when you first got engaged, before your mother took over communications. At 200 names, phone numbers, emails. I have a separate contact database for every single one. She explains the plan. The morning of the wedding, she'll send a mass text and make personal calls to the 15 most important guests. Nathan's family, my Uncle Tom, closest friends. The message? Venue has been upgraded, new address, arrive by 3 p.m. She'll frame it as a surprise. And my mother? I ask. Rachel meets my eyes. She gets the original address. Only the original address. The room goes quiet. I also called someone else, Rachel says, her voice careful now. Maggie Coulter, WRDG-TV. The news? Local interest piece. Best friend saves wedding, a community love story. Maggie doesn't know the details about your mom. She just knows it's a feel-good segment. I hesitate. A camera crew feels like a step I can't take back. Rachel reads my face. You don't have to decide now. But Vera, your mother put this on Facebook. She made it public first. This is just the truth catching up. Part of me feels guilty. The other part, the part my mother had been silencing for 28 years, feels something I haven't felt in a long time. Relief. I don't sleep that night. I lie in bed, Nathan breathing slow and steady beside me, and I run the film of my life backward. Every birthday my mother made about herself, the year she announced her hip surgery at my sweet 16, every achievement she diminished. Teaching is nice, but it's not a career. Every boyfriend she drove away before Nathan, calling each one not good enough until I believed I was the problem. And my father. The last thing he ever said to me, 3 days before the heart attack, standing at the kitchen sink in the house I grew up in. Don't let anyone shrink you, Vera, not even me. I didn't understand then. I think I do now. At 6 a.m., I call Rachel. Let's do it. You're sure? I'm sure. Good. I'll activate everything today. I hang up and make one more call. Uncle Tom, my father's younger brother. Retired Army, manages a warehouse in the next town over. He's been in my life since birth, but keeps his distance from my mother's orbit. Smart man. Uncle Tom, I need to ask you something. Shoot. Will you walk me down the aisle? The line goes quiet. I hear him clear his throat. When he speaks, his voice is rough. Your daddy would be so proud, Vera. I press the phone to my chest after we hang up. I sit on the edge of the bed and breathe. Here is what I do not do. I do not call my mother. I do not explain. I do not beg. I do not negotiate. For the first time in 28 years, I choose silence. Not the silence of submission. The silence of someone who has finally decided. 4 days until the wedding, and my mother still thinks she's won. I've thought about it a lot since then. Why my mother did what she did. Was it hate? Was it fear? Was it something broken inside her that couldn't stand to see me whole? I still don't have a perfect answer, but I'm curious. If you found out your own mother had canceled your entire wedding, what would you do? Would you confront her? Would you go silent like I did? Would you do something else entirely? Tell me in the comments. I'd really like to know. And now, back to 4 days before the wedding. 4 days before the wedding, a Thursday. I'm standing in the hallway outside my classroom at Ridge Hill Elementary, refilling my water bottle at the fountain, when I hear her voice. Not on the phone this time. In person. In my building. I'm here to check on my daughter. I look up. My mother is standing at the end of the hallway, speaking to the front desk volunteer loud enough for every open classroom door to hear. She's been unstable. I'm worried she'll have another episode. Mrs. Patterson, the 5th grade teacher, steps into her doorway. Mr. Gaines, the custodian, freezes mid-sweep. 2 parents waiting for a pickup conference turn to stare. My face goes white. I can feel it drain. blood leaving like someone pulled a plug. I walk toward her. Steady steps. My sneakers squeak on the linoleum. Mom, this is my workplace. Please leave. She pivots to face me, and her expression shifts, hurt, wounded, trembling chin. It gently but firmly. Ma'am, I'll need to gently but firmly. Ma'am, I'll need to ask you to step outside. My mother looks around the hallway, at the staring faces, the half-open doors, and squares her shoulders. You'll see, she says, walking toward the exit. Everyone will see. The door closes behind her. The hallway slowly unstiffens. As Mr. Gaines resumes sweeping, Mrs. Patterson gives me a small, helpless shrug. Then a hand touches my elbow. Mrs. Daniels, 62, taught at this school for 30 years, reading glasses on a beaded chain. She leans close. Honey, my mother was the same. Don't let her win. 5 words from a near stranger. And they hold me up for the rest of the day. 2 days before the wedding, or a rehearsal dinner at Gloria Cole's house, a cozy ranch-style home with a wraparound porch and string lights Nathan hung last summer. About 30 people, Nathan's family, a few close friends, Rachel, Uncle Tom, fried chicken, potato salad, Gloria's famous sweet potato pie. The mood is warm, nervous, hopeful. My mother was not invited. She comes anyway. I hear her car door at 7:15 p.m. She walks up the porch steps carrying a bottle of wine and a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Gloria opens the door, startled. Diane, we weren't expecting. I'm the mother of the bride. She steps inside. The living room goes quiet. Nathan's cousin Danny sets down his fork. Uncle Tom straightens in his chair by the window. My mother pours herself a glass of wine, her own bottle, and raises it. I'd like to make a toast. Nobody stops her. That's how she operates. She counts on politeness. I just hope Nathan knows what he's signing up for. A murmur. This marriage lasts longer than her, this marriage lasts longer than her attention span. The room is a held breath. Gloria stands, her voice is iron-wrapped in velvet. Diane, that's enough. My mother takes a sip, sets the glass down, looks around the room at 30 faces staring back at her. I said what I said. She walks out. The screen door slaps shut behind her. Silence. Then Nathan's hand finds mine under the table. He squeezes. I squeeze back. Gloria crosses the room and bends down next to my chair. Her eyes are wet. She whispers, I'm sorry I ever doubted you. And then, quieter, you are welcome in this family, Vera. Always. One day before the wedding, Friday evening, I'm folding napkins at Rachel's apartment. She insisted I stay the night so Diane can't reach me, when my phone buzzes. A screenshot from my coworker Jenny. As it's a Facebook post, my mother's account. Please pray for my daughter. She's rushing into a marriage against medical advice. I've done everything I can. A mother's heart is broken. Against medical advice. I read it 3 times. Each time the words rearranged themselves into something uglier. There is no medical advice. There is no doctor who said don't get married. My mother invented a medical crisis and posted it to 800 people in a town where everyone knows everyone's middle name. My hands are shaking. Rachel looks over, reads the screenshot, and her expression doesn't change. She's past shock. She's in operational mode. I saw it 20 minutes ago, she says. 800 people, Rachel. I know. She's telling the whole town I'm mentally ill. Rachel takes the phone from my hand. Not roughly, like a nurse removing something that's hurting a patient. Don't respond. Tomorrow, the truth will speak for itself. Nathan calls from our house. He saw it too. I'll drive over. Stay, I say. I'm okay. I'm with Rachel. You sure? I'm sure. He pauses. No more screens tonight, Vera. I agree. Rachel takes my phone and puts it in a kitchen drawer. She makes chamomile tea. We sit on her couch, not talking much, just breathing in the same room. I lie in Rachel's guest bed that night, eyes open, staring at the ceiling fan turning slow circles. Tomorrow will be different. I'm not scared anymore. Something has shifted, quietly, like a key turning in a lock. For the first time, I can see clearly, more clearly than I've ever seen in my life. Saturday morning, wedding day, 6 a.m. I wake up in Rachel's guest room to the sound of her already on the phone. Yes, ma'am, venue upgrade, surprise for the bride and groom. A new address is Elmwood Garden Estate, 412 Whitfield Lane. Arrive by 3 p.m. Don't go to the original address. She's pacing her living room in sweatpants and a headset, a printed spreadsheet in her hand with 200 names, each one highlighted in yellow, green, or red. Yellow, mass text sent. Green, confirmed. Red, needs a personal call. By 8 a.m., she's made 15 calls. Gloria Cole, confirmed. Uncle Tom, confirmed. Nathan's cousin Danny, his Aunt Margaret. The Hendersons from next door, my coworker Jenny, Mrs. Daniels. Confirmed, confirmed, confirmed. By 10 a.m., 197 out of 200 guests have confirmed the new location. 3 can't attend, 1 has a sick child, 2 are traveling. None are related to my mother's sabotage. 1 person is not on the contact list at all. Diane Westbrook receives no text, no call, no new address. As far as she knows, the wedding is at the original venue, the one she canceled. The empty lot. At noon, I put on my dress in Rachel's bedroom. It's simple. Ivory, tea-length, lace sleeves. I bought it at a consignment shop in Atlanta. $60. My mother called it second-hand embarrassment. I call it mine. Uncle Tom arrives at 1:30 p.m. He's wearing a gray suit, polished shoes, eyes already red. He sees me and stops in the doorway. Lord Vera, you look like your daddy on his wedding day, stubborn and beautiful. Rachel checks her watch, checks her list. Looks at me. Ready? I smooth my dress. I take a breath. I've been ready for 28 years. For the first time, my wedding feels like mine. Elmwood Garden Estate sits at the end of a gravel lane lined with pecan trees. There's a white wooden gate, open wide. Beyond it, a rolling lawn edged with wildflower beds. Sunflowers, lavender, baby's breath. The flowers I chose, the flowers my mother erased. Rachel brought them back. Fairy lights are strung between 2 ancient live oaks, swaying just enough to make the light shimmer. Wooden chairs line a center aisle, chairs Nathan built himself over the last year, one every weekend, stacked in his workshop, where I thought he was just staying busy. He was building our wedding without me knowing. The BBQ pit is already going. Big Jim himself, in his denim apron, tends the smoker. Pulled pork, cornbread, sweet tea in mason jars, just like I dreamed. Guests start arriving at 2:30. They step through the gate and stop. And almost every one of them stops. Some press their hands to their chests. Some laugh in disbelief. Mrs. Henderson whispers to her husband, "This is better than the original." Gloria Cole walks in, sees the wildflowers, sees the hand-built chairs, sees the fairy lights catching the Georgia afternoon sun. She finds me near the garden trellis and wraps her arms around me. Tight, real. This is what your wedding was always supposed to look like. Maggie Coulter from WRDG-TV arrives quietly with her cameraman. They set up off to the side. Unobtrusive, professional. Rachel briefs them. A heartwarming story about friendship and community. That's all they need to know for now. Old Mrs. Freeman, my neighbor since childhood, 81 years old, Sunday hat and all, finds me and takes both my hands. "Your daddy is watching, sweetheart. I know it." I believe her. 200 chairs, 197 guests, and the only person missing is the one who tried to make sure none of this would exist. 3 o'clock. The afternoon light turns gold. Uncle Tom takes my arm at the end of the aisle. His grip is firm, military firm, but his hand is trembling. "Slow steps," he murmurs. "Make it count." The music starts. Not a grand orchestral piece, just a guitar. Rachel's friend Caleb sitting on a stool under the live oak, and playing a finger-picked version of the song Nathan and I danced to on our first date in his workshop, sawdust still on the floor. I step forward. 200 faces turn. Some are smiling. Some are already crying. Gloria Cole holds a tissue to her nose. Mrs. Daniels nods at me from the 3rd row. Small, steady, certain. Nathan stands at the end of the aisle. His hands are clasped in front of him. His eyes are red and he's not hiding it. He's never hidden anything from me. As Uncle Tom delivers me to Nathan, shakes his hand and says, "Take care of her, or answer to me." Nathan nods. "Yes, sir." The officiant, Nathan's college friend David, ordained online last month specifically for this, keeps it simple. Short readings, no sermon, then the vows. Nathan goes first. His voice breaks once, on the word home. My turn. I don't read from a card. I look at him and say what I've been holding for months. I choose you. Not because I need to be saved, but because I finally know I deserve to be loved without conditions. The garden goes quiet, even the birds, it seems. I don't need permission to be happy. Not from anyone. Not anymore. Nathan's hand finds mine. The officiant pronounces us married. We kiss under the live oaks, and the fairy lights sway, and 197 people rise to their feet. The sound of their applause fills the garden like a wave, and somewhere, 12 minutes away, an empty lot waits in silence. And 3:15 p.m., 12 minutes away. I learn the details later, pieced together from Uncle Tom, from the security guard, from Maggie Coulter's footage. My mother drives to the original venue at 3:15. She parks her silver sedan, the one she always keeps spotless because appearances matter, and steps out in a navy blue dress and pearl earrings. She's not dressed for grief. She's dressed for victory. She walks toward the lot. It's empty. No tent, no chairs, no flowers, no caterer. Cancelled vendors, the empty venue. Her cancelled vendors, the empty venue. Her daughter's dream, erased. In her mind, the story ends here, with Vera humiliated, crawling back, needing Mama again. Then she looks around. No cars, no guests arriving, no confused relatives milling about, no one weeping on their phone, no one at all. The smile fades. And she pulls out her phone and calls me. It rings 5 times and goes to voicemail. She calls Rachel, voicemail. She calls Gloria Cole, voicemail. She scrolls through her contacts and calls Nathan's cousin Danny, voicemail. Mrs. Henderson, voicemail. Jenny from my school, voicemail. 7 calls, 8, 9. Not a single answer. She stands in the middle of that empty lot, phone pressed to her ear, turning in a slow circle. The sun is hot. The cicadas are loud, and she is completely, utterly alone. I try to imagine what that moment felt like for her, the exact second she understood, the second the smile dropped and the realization landed like a stone in still water. She came to watch me break. Instead, she stood in an empty field, calling number after number, and no one answered. Someone answers eventually. A distant cousin of Nathan's, Bev, 74, hard of hearing, probably didn't understand the "Don't tell Diane" memo. She picks up on the 6th ring. Oh, Diane, didn't you get the message? Wedding's at Elmwood Garden now. Pretty place out on Whitfield Lane. My mother hangs up without saying goodbye. 25 minutes later, she must have broken every speed limit in Ridge Hill. Her silver sedan crunches up the gravel lane at Elmwood Garden Estate. She sees the white gate, the fairy lights through the trees. She hears the music, the laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the smoky sweetness of barbecue drifting through the Georgia air. And she parks. She walks to the gate. Her heels sink slightly into the gravel. A man is standing at the entrance. Kyle, Rachel's friend, 6'2", calm-faced, holding a clipboard. He's been briefed. Good afternoon, ma'am. May I see your invitation? My mother straightens. I'm the mother of the bride. Kyle looks down at his list. He scans it carefully, top to bottom. He looks up. I'm sorry, ma'am. Your name isn't on the guest list. My mother stares at him. Her mouth opens, and then closes. There must be a mistake. No mistake, ma'am. I've checked twice. Through the gate, she can see the chairs, the wildflowers, the mason jars, the guests laughing. She can see the back of my dress. She can see Nathan's arm around my waist. Everything she tried to destroy is right there, alive and whole and glowing. And there is a gate between her and it, and a man with a clipboard, and her name, nowhere on the list. I understand this is difficult, Kyle says gently. But I can only allow listed guests. For the first time in her life, my mother is on the outside of a door she can't open. And the key is not in her hands. She doesn't leave quietly. I piece this together from Maggie Coulter's footage, which I watch only once, 2 weeks later, and never again. My mother's voice rises, first measured, then sharp, then raw. This is my daughter's wedding. I am her mother. Kyle doesn't move. He keeps his hands clasped in front of him, and his expression neutral. He's been trained for this. Rachel thought of everything. Ma'am, I understand, but I'm not authorized to. Authorized. I gave birth to her. Several guests near the gate turn their heads. Nathan's Aunt Margaret whispers something to the person next to her. Mrs. Henderson shakes her head slowly. My mother sees the faces looking at her, not with sympathy, not with confusion, with recognition. They know what she did. But Rachel's venue change message was clear. Due to unforeseen vendor cancellations by a family member, the wedding location has been moved. Everyone knows who that family member is. Then my mother sees the camera. Maggie Coulter and her cameraman have moved toward the gate, not aggressively, just doing their job. The red light is on. My mother freezes. The tears, the ones she can summon on command, stop. She looks at the lens the way a deer looks at headlights. For one long moment. Just she stands there, the mask cracking. Not the grieving mother, not the protective parent. Just a woman in a navy dress who bet everything on control and lost. She turns around, walks to her car, opens the door, gets in, drives away. She doesn't look back. Inside the garden, I'm dancing. Nathan leads me through a clumsy two-step on the grass, while Caleb plays guitar and the fairy lights turn on as the sun dips. I don't know my mother came. I don't know she left. But Rachel stands near the dessert table, watching the gate. She sees the silver sedan disappear down the gravel road. She picks up her glass of sweet tea, takes a sip, and walks back to the dance floor. No triumph, no gloating, just peace. She came, Rachel tells me days later. She left. You didn't miss anything. The rest of the evening is the kind of ordinary I've been starving for. Paper plates loaded with pulled pork, sweet tea refilled 3 times, Nathan's 7-year-old nephew, Thumb Brady, chasing fireflies across the lawn while his grandmother yells at him to watch the flower beds. We cut the cake, 2 tiers, buttercream frosting, a small cluster of wildflowers on top. I made the topper myself, 2 tiny wooden figures Nathan carved last month. He thought I didn't notice the wood shavings on his workbench. I noticed. Gloria stands up to speak. She's not a woman who enjoys public attention, so when she clears her throat and the garden goes quiet, it means something. I'm not a speech person, she says, but I want to say this. Welcome to the family, Vera, for real this time. A few people laugh, a few people cry. I do both. Uncle Tom goes next. He holds his glass steady, but his voice wavers. My brother always said Vera would find her way. He pauses, swallows. He was right. The applause is gentle, not a roar, just a warm, even sound like rain on a porch roof. So I sit at the long wooden table, one Nathan built for a client last year but decided to keep. And I look around. 200 people eating barbecue in a garden full of wildflowers under fairy lights in a small Georgia town. Nobody is performing. Nobody is managing appearances. Nobody is watching to see if I'll crack. For the first time in my life, a celebration isn't being held hostage. Rachel catches my eye from across the table. She raises her mason jar. I raise mine. But we don't say anything. We don't need to. That was the first celebration of my life that wasn't stolen from me. Later that night, after the last guest has gone and the fairy lights are still blinking softly in the empty garden, Nathan and I sit on the porch steps at our house. My shoes are off. His tie is loose. The night air smells like jasmine and leftover smoke. There's something I need to show you, he says. He pulls out his phone and opens an audio file. Dated 6 days ago, 10:47 p.m. I didn't play this for you before because you were already breaking. He presses play. My mother's voice fills the dark porch. She had a breakdown in college. Did she tell you the full story? I listen. She can't handle stress. She'll fall apart. I keep listening. Walk away now. Save yourself. The recording ends. The cicadas take over. I sit with it. My mother's voice. The one that sang me to sleep. The one that read me stories. The one that told me I was too fragile, too broken, too damaged for anyone to love, hanging in the warm night air. I'm not damaged, I say. I never was. Nathan doesn't argue. He just waits. I want to send this to Maggie Coulter. He looks at me. Are you sure? My mother put it on Facebook first. She told 800 people I was mentally ill. She told the whole town my marriage was a mistake. I fold my hands. I'm not putting her on blast. Oh, I'm just letting people hear her real voice. Okay. And the vendor cancellations, the emails, the voicemails where she pretended to be me, Rachel has all of those. Nathan nods. This isn't revenge, I say, as much to myself as to him. This is just the truth, without her editing it. He puts his arm around me. The porch light flickers. Somewhere down the road, a dog barks twice and stops. I'm not doing this to hurt her. I'm doing this so she can never rewrite the story. The next morning, Sunday, I sit at the kitchen table with a blank sheet of paper and a pen. Not an email, not a text, a letter. Handwritten. Because some things should cost effort. I write 3 drafts before I get it right. The first is too angry. The second is too kind. The third is honest. Mom, I love you. I need you to know that first, because the rest of this letter will be hard to read. You canceled my wedding. You told my fiancé I was damaged goods. You told the town I was mentally ill. You told his mother I was unstable. You came to my workplace and implied I was having a breakdown in front of my colleagues. You posted on Facebook that I was marrying against medical advice. That was a lie. I don't hate you for any of this, but I can't pretend it didn't happen. I think you're afraid. I think you've been afraid since Dad died. Afraid of being alone, afraid of losing control, and afraid that if I build my own life, there won't be room for you in it. There is room. There will always be room. But not like this. I need distance. I don't know for how long. When you're ready to talk, really talk, without guilt, without tears used as weapons, without trying to control the conversation, I'll be here. But the door opens from my side now. Not yours. I love you, Mom. But love without boundaries isn't love. It's captivity. Vera. I fold the letter. I put it in an envelope. And I write Diane Westbrook on the front. I drive to Uncle Tom's house and hand it to him. He reads it standing in his doorway. When he finishes, he folds it carefully and looks at me. Your father would have written the same thing. He delivers it that afternoon. I don't ask how she reacted. I'm not ready to know. 1 week after the wedding, Maggie Coulter's segment airs on WRDG-TV. The piece runs 4.5 minutes during the 6 o'clock news. But the angle, maid of honor saves best friend's wedding after family sabotage, a Ridge Hill love story. Maggie keeps it tasteful. She doesn't name my mother directly. She says a family member canceled all wedding vendors 1 week before the ceremony. She shows footage of the garden, the wildflowers, the fairy lights, Nathan and me dancing. She interviews Rachel, who says simply, when someone you love is in trouble, you don't wait for permission to help. She doesn't need to name Diane. But in a town of 4,000, subtraction is identification. If the mother of the bride isn't in the wedding footage and a family member did the sabotage, everyone does the math. Within 3 days, I hear the ripples. Diane's post, the one about medical advice, gets screenshot shared across half the town before she can delete it. By the time she does, it's too late. People are placing it side by side with Maggie's report. At the Ridge Hill Women's Auxiliary, where Diane has held a board seat for 6 years, sends her a polite email. We think it's best if you take a leave of absence while things settle down. At Patty's hair salon, Patty herself tells Diane during her appointment, Diane, I heard what happened. I think you should talk to someone, a professional. Neighbors stop waving from their driveways. Invitations to Sunday potlucks stop arriving. The phone calls taper off. Yes, my mother's currency in Ridge Hill was always reputation. The devoted widow, the sacrificing mother, the woman who held it all together. That currency is now worthless. A woman on the town's Facebook group writes what everyone is thinking. I always thought Diane was a devoted mother. Turns out devoted and controlling look the same from the outside. I hear about the next part from Uncle Tom, who checks on my mother because, despite everything, she's still his late brother's wife. And Tom is the kind of man who doesn't abandon people even when they've earned it. Diane calls him on a Wednesday night, 2 weeks after the wedding. She's crying. They turned my daughter against me. Tom doesn't sugarcoat it. Nobody turned her, Diane. You pushed her. She's my child. I have a right. You have a right to love her. You don't have a right to own her. She hangs up on him, calls back 20 minutes later, calmer, trying a different angle. Rachel manipulated the whole thing. She poisoned Vera against me. Rachel saved a wedding you tried to destroy. Silence. Tom tells me she calls a few of her old friends from the women's auxiliary. She tells them she's been pushed out by her daughter and her daughter's controlling best friend. The narrative is familiar. Diane, the victim. Diane, the misunderstood martyr. But this time, nobody buys it. Everyone saw the Facebook post. Everyone watched Maggie's report. Us need help. Real help, not sympathy. Tom need help. Real help, not sympathy. Tom drives by Diane's house one evening and sees the lights on in the kitchen. Through the window, she's sitting alone at the table, looking at an old photo album. Her wedding album, her and my father. Young, smiling, unbroken. He tells me this carefully, like he's not sure I want to hear it. I listen. I hope she gets help, I say. I mean it. Not because I've forgiven her, because I know what it looks like when someone is drowning and too proud to call for a life vest. I tell Tom, if she agrees to see a therapist, I'll go to one session of family counseling with her. One. That's my offer. It's not forgiveness. It's a condition. And it's the most generous thing I can give right now. The money sorts itself out, mostly. But Nathan and I contact the original vendors, the ones my mother canceled by impersonating me. We bring the receipts. The emails where Diane signed as Vera Westbrook. The voicemails where she used my name. The florist and the caterer both review the evidence and agree. We didn't authorize the cancellation. Dawn at Magnolia Florals refunds $2,200. The caterer returns $4,800. That's $7,000 back. Not everything, but enough to breathe. The venue, Ridge Hill Community Pavilion, has a stricter policy. No refund past 30 days. But the manager, after hearing the story and seeing the voicemails, offers a credit toward a future event. Nathan says we'll use it for a first anniversary party. I laugh for the first time in a while. We pay Rachel back the $6,500 within 2 months. She resists. Consider it a wedding gift, she says. I wire it anyway. Some debts aren't about money. They're about respect. Something unexpected comes from the wedding itself. 3 guests who saw the hand-built chairs and tables Nathan made for the reception reach out to him the following week. Custom furniture orders, a dining set for the Hendersons, a rocking chair for old Mrs. Freeman, a bookshelf for Maggie Coulter's producer. Nathan's workshop, which had been struggling for steady clients, suddenly has a 3-month waitlist. I don't file charges against my mother. I don't sue for damages. And I consider it, briefly, but I'm a 28-year-old teacher in a small town, and she's my mother. The legal system isn't built for this kind of wound. But I keep everything, every voicemail, every email, every screenshot, filed neatly in a folder Rachel labeled, just in case. We didn't get rich. We didn't get even. We just got free. 3 months later. Our house is small. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a porch that needs repainting. Nathan says he'll get to it in spring. And I believe him because the man finishes everything he starts. I go back to teaching. The 3rd graders don't know anything about what happened, and that's exactly how I want it. They care about multiplication tables and who gets to feed the class hamster. It's the most grounding thing in my life. Mrs. Daniels, the teacher who whispered, "Don't let her win," in the hallway that day, starts leaving a cupcake on my desk every Friday. She never mentions why. I never ask. Gloria Cole and I have dinner together every other Sunday. She's teaching me to make peach cobbler, the Cole family recipe, handwritten on an index card so old the ink is fading. Last Sunday, she handed me the original card. "It's yours now," she said. "Family recipe goes to family." I taped it inside our kitchen cabinet, next to a photo of Nathan and me at Elmwood. I haven't spoken to my mother directly. Uncle Tom is the bridge. He tells me she started seeing a therapist. Went twice. Quit. I went back. Quit again. Then went back a 3rd time. "She's trying," Tom says on the phone one evening. Slowly. Slowly is fine, I tell him. I'm not going anywhere. I mean it. The door I described in my letter, the one that opens from my side, is still there. I check on it sometimes, in my mind, the way you check on a plant you're not sure will survive the winter. I don't need my mother to be perfect. I just need her to stop pretending I'm broken. That's the minimum. And for the first time, I'm not afraid to hold it. I want to say something to you directly, not as a character in a story. As me. Vera. I didn't tell you all of this so you'd hate my mother. She's a woman in pain. She lost her husband too young, and she never learned the difference between holding on and holding hostage. Her fear is real. Her grief is real. But her pain doesn't give her the right to destroy my life. And yours doesn't either, whoever yours is. But if you have someone in your life, a mother, a father, a sibling, a partner, who uses love like a leash, who makes you feel guilty for being whole, who punishes you for growing, I want you to hear me. You are not ungrateful for wanting air. You are not selfish for saying no. You are not a bad daughter or a bad son for building a life that doesn't orbit their anxiety. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors, and you get to hold the key. I didn't plan a revenge. I didn't scheme. And I was lucky. I had Rachel. I had Nathan. I had Uncle Tom and Gloria and Mrs. Daniels and 200 people who showed up at a backup garden on a Saturday in Georgia because someone sent them a text that said, "Trust me." If you don't have a Rachel, if there's no one in your corner right now, then be your own Rachel. Make a plan, not a plan for revenge, a plan for your future, a plan that protects the version of yourself your mother or father or whoever is trying to erase. You deserve to exist without permission. I know, because I spent 28 years waiting for permission, and the day I stopped asking was the day my life actually began. I've asked myself so many times since then, if Rachel hadn't made that backup plan, what would have happened? Would I have been strong enough to stand on my own? Honestly, I'm not sure. So I want to ask you, do you have a Rachel in your life? Someone who protects you before you even know you need protecting? Or are you someone's Rachel, the one holding the backup plan together while they fall apart? Tell me in the comments. I'd really love to hear your story. Now, let me tell you how this ends. 6 months after the wedding, I come home from school on a Tuesday afternoon. There's a piece of mail on the porch. Not in the mailbox, on the porch. Hand-delivered. A cream-colored envelope with no return address, my name written in handwriting I'd recognize in the dark. As I open it, standing in the doorway, no letter inside, no words, just a single pressed wildflower. A black-eyed Susan, flattened and dried between two sheets of wax paper. I hold it for a long time. A wildflower. The flower I chose for my wedding. The flower my mother replaced with white roses. The flower Rachel brought back. I don't know if it's an apology. I don't know if it's a goodbye. I don't know if she pressed it from her own garden or bought it somewhere or picked it from the roadside ditch out on Route 12 where black-eyed Susans grow wild every summer. I don't call her. I'm not ready. Maybe she's not ready either. I carry the flower inside and place it on the bookshelf, leaning against our wedding photo. Nathan and me under the live oaks, fairy lights in the background, wildflowers everywhere. My mother didn't say anything. And maybe that's the kindest thing she's done in years. Nathan comes in from the workshop, sawdust on his forearms. He sees me standing at the bookshelf. "You okay?" "Yeah." I turn around. "I'm good."